Well, hello and welcome to another Evolve Alliance Provider Member Showcase. I am really excited today. I've got both Robert and Katriel with me today from CDM Solutions. Now, this is a name that I knew nothing of not so very long ago. And if, like me, you are the same, you will probably be excited to know a lot more about it. If you do any risk insurance in your business, this is about to change your life. Katriel, how would you describe what you do at CDM Solutions?
Thank you, Sue. CDM's really is business changing for all advisors, because any advisor that has a client with an insurance policy needs to know at least what are the sums insured and what are the premiums for that particular policy. What CDM does is it provides the advisor with one portal, one login, where all the information from all the different insurance companies about all the different clients is stored in one place, allowing an advisor to access all current information about all life insurance policies. At least. More than that, it also automates renewal notices going out to clients and missed premiums being advised to clients, making the advisor's job very good because they're interacting with their clients. They understand their clients. They know what their client's position is when it comes to life insurance policies, and it creates an ongoing relationship with their clients. So any business that doesn't have CDM is either spending money on human resources to do the same thing or is not doing it.
And it is an absolute missed opportunity. Do you know what, though? I often find that the best person to hear from about a solution provider is the advisors who are using them. So what I'm going to do, we're just going to cross over now to one of your clients who's going to share their experience with CDM Solutions.
Hi, I'm Matthew Yates. I'm the Director and RM for Byfield's Advice and Byfield's Wealth Management. We're a WA-based firm with a team of about 14 with 4 advisors, and we're mostly dealing with SME clients and a lot of farming clients in the wheat belt over here. So we're new users to CDM, and we are only about 2 months into it, but so far I've been really impressed with their functionality. We essentially have a part of our business which is insurance clients, and we've found it really hard in the past to collect all the data from the different providers and have a really good vision on where all the clients sit and what they've got, and it's been made quite hard in the past to report on it and to give clients good service. So this is the solution that we've been looking for, that CDM at the moment seems to be providing quite well. So we found it quite hard. I'm sure a lot of people would as well, dealing with the different platforms that insurers give us to be able to report and look up policies that are in force. We've got quite a large insurance book because the business has been running for a long time, and we've got a large amount of clients who need that cover. And it's been difficult in the past to be able to, as a business owner, know where the policies were, what the sort of demographics of our client base. And in the past, it's been very manual, and it's been a lot of time with our CSAs putting in monthly reports and updating our CRM with that data. We found that data feeds have not been accurate and have not been able to be relied upon. So we were looking for a solution that cut down our time with manually inputting stuff, and also being able to give us a much better overview of everything. At the moment, how we're using it is we're using it in our reviews to run our consolidated reporting on all of the clients' policies, so that when we produce our review reports, or when we are showing stuff to the clients or accountants or people who need to know that information, we're able to run that quite simply and easily from one spot. And one of the other things that we find very useful is the consolidated overdue reporting. So we now have one person in our staff who can jump on there every Tuesday, run a report, send out reports to the advisors to say, these are the guys that are overdue, this is where it's coming from, this is when it lapses, and really have a much better, more consolidated view of the whole firm and where that's sitting. The other areas that we've discussed recently how we can use it to be more efficient is discussing with our self-managed super fund team and our audit team, who does a lot of the self-managed super fund compliance work, to be able to potentially run reports at the end of the financial year that can then be put on record ready for tax time, to make sure that we've got we tick our audit boxes and we're not having to call those providers each time they ask for it to get a certificate of currency or to get a statement of premiums paid for the year. So this could cut down some significant time, and all those other areas I mentioned as well at the moment seem to have cut down a fair bit of our time as well. And it's really great to be able to click a couple of buttons and get a very simplified view of how a client is covered and what their costs are. And particularly when you get a request from an accountant who's wanting to know a general picture, we're able to get that general picture together a lot quicker. So so far, those are the areas we found a lot of value in. I think the immediate savings of time is that every month we would have 3 CSA staff jumping onto multiple portals to download information to then update. And what we found with that is that might take those staff members potentially 6 or 7 hours per month per person to get that done. And that normally also came with some errors. There's a lot of manual handling there. And there's also needs to be a really good understanding of the different types of insurances and how they can be linked and how stamp duty works and how discounts work. So there was a lot of room for error for that. So you have those normal hours, but then you would constantly need to be cleaning that data all the way through and almost second guessing it every time you would use that data. So, there's the baseline level of probably, close to 20 hours a month plus some from those guys. And then when it comes to the requests we get from accountants and from clients, being able to flick that off to somebody and knowing that's going to take them, all of 2 to 3 minutes rather than potentially a phone call to a company or, a checking of data and not having the confidence that the data is right, many more hours. So the cost for the program, it pays for itself pretty quickly under those numbers. I've made recommendations to many of the other advisor groups that we have contact with to give it a go. It's a very easy process to set up, so you can get an idea very quickly whether it's going to be of benefit to your business or not. We've, particularly with the free trial, by the end of the month, we were looking for where to pay because we wanted to get it underway. So I think a month trial wouldn't even be necessary. You probably need a week and you'll get a good picture of how it's going to work in your business. It's very refreshing when a piece of software works 90% and you've got a 10% of the time you need to work around rather than sort of the other way around. And there's we always talk about efficiencies in technology, and when you actually see it for the first time in a long time, it's very rewarding, and it gives me it gives me sort of motivation and excitement to keep playing in the risk space, because in the past it's been such a drag dealing with these providers. You tend to avoid risk and you tend to avoid that part of the business because of the difficulty you have. This sort of gives you motivation to go, well, actually, maybe this is a place we should be continuing on with and looking to expand.
So yes, it is quite revolutionary, and I cannot believe, well, I can believe, but it's astounding that you are the only provider in the market right now that can get access to this data. So tell me a little bit more detail. We're going to do a demo of the site as well, but tell me a little bit more detail about how do you actually get this information?
Thanks. So that's a great question. The answer is that it's evolving all the time. So going back to how we started it was simply an advisor would actually go into the insurance provider themselves, download the data, send us the data, then we would collate it all together. And that worked great until I had an advisor who had 30 advisors in their office. Mm-hmm. And if there were 10 insurance companies available around at the time, it meant that there was a necessity to have 300 data sets being downloaded. And whereas the company was very, very happy that we could collate all that information together, they were not happy to have to manually download 300 data sets. Mm. So I spent the next 18 months working out how we could automate that process. So what we do now is when the advisor logs into CDM, for many of the providers, they'll put in their username and password. That username and password is encrypted. It sits in the back end and no one can decrypt it. And that then is used on a weekly basis to download the information from each insurance provider.
So they log in with every username and password for every insurance provider that they have clients with, yeah?
That's right. So that
they do that once.
That information, well, that we do that on a weekly basis now. So that's how the advisor has access to current information all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We do have other providers where we actually get the information from them directly. So depending on the insurance company, depending on a number of factors, will depend on how we get that information. The brains in our system is to take that information and to standardize it so that we can get a report, for example, of every policy that's coming up for renewal next month.
Yeah.
And with that information, we can either send that to the advisor, they can download that information and use it as a catalyst to send out renewal notices. But our next step in the program was to, now that we have all the information from all the insurance companies, from all the clients, why can't, and this is feedback we got from advisors, why can't CDM simply send out a renewal notice 4 weeks or whatever period of time before the renewal? Because we have the clients' names, we have their policy numbers, we have their start dates, well, send out an email. So we then created a system that CDM then sends an email to every client, your policy is coming up for renewal, and that was amazing. But then we had advisors saying, well, I don't like the email format that CDM is sending it out in. I like to create my own format. So we created functionality that allows an advisor to customize the way the email that goes out to a client looks, with their logo, with specific information, with links to their calendar invites. And now with so many advisors automating a renewal process, those clients are clicking into the email that they're receiving from the advisor via CDM, but they don't know that CDM is involved. And they are making appointments with advisors, meaning advisors are getting a lot more appointments than what they were planning on getting because it's such an automated process and it doesn't cost them any more to do.
But that particular workflow is managed by the advisor, right? So the advisor can say, this is the words I want the email to say. I want you to have my calendar link and invite people. Or if they choose to do it a different way, then they can do it a different way. It's just that you know that the data is accurate in terms of timing of the emails and whatever policies it's linked to. That's right. Great feature.
That's right. And Sue, just to add on to that, a lot of feedback advisors gave us that if they don't speak to a client for a year or two, they end up losing that client. By putting in a happy birthday functionality, which goes out on a client's birthday, based on the information that's coming through from the insurer, meaning we have the client's date of birth, and a renewal email coming up saying that your policy is up for renewal, it means that every CDM advisor has at least 2 more contacts with their existing clients than what they would otherwise have, unless they're paying for that contact to exist. So it may well be that advisors have in their office facilities that allow the advisor to send renewal notices, but it's costing them money. Yes. CDM is that low, well, I don't want to say low cost, but it's value added solution that allows the advisor to be in touch with their clients
on those accurate trigger points. Because as you say, if they've got the inaccurate data that hasn't been updated in X plan and the renewal dates have changed or the amounts or the insurance providers have changed, then it could be sending out incorrect information. So that's great that the advisors have got the choice. And I would probably add there, keeping that information up to date. If the advisor has a blog post or an article that talks about what happens when your insurance policies start getting more expensive as you age and what are your options, that's a great way for them to communicate and educate their clients even before the client then picks up the phone and complains about it or so forth. Right. So you could put all of those links into those emails that go out automatically and maintain that communication level. That's great. Can we actually see the proof is in the pudding, as they say? So now, Robert, you are the technology head behind the system, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
So I'll get you to give us a bit of a demo on what it looks like. And while you're pulling that up, I do have to share, I was completely stunned when I sat in one of the coaching meetings, we'd sent this information through to one of our advisors and say, look, it sounds like it's too good to be too true. I know there's nothing else like it at the moment, but give it a try. And he said it took him an hour to load up there. They've got 4 advisors. He loaded in all the advisor numbers with all of the different insurance policies. And he brought up this dashboard and he said I think he was 20 years of being in business, he has never seen that much accurate data about his own clients' insurance policies as what he was sitting and looking at with me in real time. He almost cried. Like, it was just, I can't believe we've got access to this. It's so good. So anyway, let's have a look.
I got a similar feedback. I've been in Sydney recently, and one of the advisors said, I've been asking other people to develop something like that for last 8 years. Where have you been? Where
have you been? It's a great question. So you guys are based in Melbourne?
Yeah, we're in Melbourne. So I think the answer is that we're technology oriented, and marketing is not the skill set of a technology firm.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay, so that's our website.
Yeah,
you can just read about it. That's insurance companies we have access data to.
Now, can we just go back there, Robert?
Yep.
So there are more insurers than that in the Australian insurance industry. So talk me through the difference between the different insurers. What, are there any insurance companies that you can't get access to at the moment?
I might answer this question, Robert, and to say, Sue, that if there is a situation we have, for example, regional clients or regional insurers which are not on that list and don't actually have data that we can download, we have an ability for advisors to complete Excel spreadsheets that populate with all their information, and we can upload that into CDM. So we are not limited by any number of insurers.
Sorry, let me get that right. We're talking about this being an automated way to get the information from the insurer, but if the insurer's not on your list, the advisor gives you the information. Is that manually, or they can download it separately and then put it in a CSV file?
What I'm saying is that there's no limitation from our side. If we're able to access information electronically, we will.
Right.
If we can't, say, for example, an insurer doesn't make that information available, advisors, in order to have a complete solution within CDM, we're not limited to data via data feed.
Right.
We can actually take manual data as well from an advisor if that's what they need to do in order to have a working solution.
I see.
And by the way, Sue, I would actually, the challenge, maybe it's too early, but the challenge I would put out to both you and your clients is, how many clients does the practice have? And I can confidently say that in all the demos we've done and all our clients, not one advisor has been able to say, we have 674 clients. It's only when they're using CDM, they can actually come up with that answer, because we're so specific. In fact, we've had advisors who are selling their business use CDM as a valuation tool, because it tells how much the in-force premium is, what are the sums insured, how many policies there are, how many clients there are, what is the age demographic, what is the state demographic, etc.
Yeah, it is a real problem for firms. Obviously, for the investment piece, if they're giving financial advice to a client, they have documented agreements now, so they can put their finger on that actual number, how many clients on an annual agreement versus just transactional. But the risk clients in particular, you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, a lot of firms aren't able to get accurate data on that.
So when an advisor log in and edit all codes, we get data in the next 7 minutes, and that's what advisor sees first when he logs in. That's a provider split, so we can know amount of premiums paid with each provider. That's life insurance, TPD, trauma, child trauma, accidentals type of covers, and ancillary. Some additional benefits are also here, and you can.
Right. And so that amount that's showing on screen, is that the sums insured or the annual premium total?
Annual premium. Premium.
Okay. And then I can see there beneath you've got both.
Yeah, and that's like more detailed information. For example, we know that this particular advisor has this amount of life insurance premiums paid with this provider.
Fantastic.
So that gives you kind of understanding of your overall business position.
Yeah. And now when you're in a business that has multiple advisors, am I right? Do I recall correctly that you can do these charts on the whole business, including all advisors, as
Correct.
well as drill down to the individual advisor level?
Yep, you can have one account as a manager account type and one individual advisor. So if you want to split records and make sure that advisors do not see records of each other, you can do that. Or as a manager and you want to see the whole picture, you can do it as well. Yeah.
Excellent.
We actually also have a licensee version as well, so that the licensee can see everything that's going on within the group. And of course, each individual authorized rep cannot see other authorized reps' information.
Fantastic. Now, one thing that does jump out for me in what I'm looking at right now is that I'm not seeing the commissions paid to the advisors.
Yeah.
It's a module which we're working on. It may
Right.
be there by the time you watch this video. There's revenue per policy, which is important.
But that's in progress. And look, to be honest, the clients that are using it now of ours anyway are saying, look, that'd be great when we get that. But right now we're getting those reports through our commission management system anyway. This is the information we need when we're wanting to see who we need to talk to, when we're trying to pull together reports for our clients, when we're coming up to reviews and so forth. So it'll be great when that is launched. And even without it, it's still tremendously valuable. So sorry, I interrupted you, Robert. You were going to start showing me some of that left-hand menu.
Yeah, so on the dashboard, you can see summary of your business, and we can have two more reports kind of helping you to understand where are your clients, basically.
Yeah.
Tasmania, Western Australia, that's state report.
Mm-hmm.
And we have also age group report.
Now, this one is one that is incredibly powerful, particularly when we're doing long-term strategic planning on the business. I think you've already touched on it, Katriel. It's really helpful in valuing the value of an insurance book. But particularly for longer term strategic planning, we were looking at this in bands and saying, okay, well, if we're considering those at-risk policies, those that are most likely to be turning off over the next whatever period, how many of those are we looking at risk? And it's great that you've got number of policies, but also you can see there the sums insured and premium. And from that, if you need to be making assumptions from the amount of revenue that the firm's getting, you can do so. But it also then helps look at the demographics of a client base as well, particularly for a client that was looking at doing some age-related or lifestyle-related communications and some articles. They could see that, right, well, we've got a whole bunch of clients in that 51 to 60 age group. These are the people that we want to be sending stuff to them about. You get over 50, your premiums go up. Why is that? Becomes more valuable and so forth. So this is really, really helpful data.
Yeah.
And
so that actually came off an advisor coming back to us and asking us, can we do such a report? And it was done.
So you're nimble. That's great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. From practical perspective, let's say you have a review of client's position. You can just search, click, and get all of his data. In this case, it's just one cover. So, but from practical perspective, let's say client calls you and asks, what are my insurance policies? So you just search for him, click his name, and you see all of his information across multiple providers.
Now, this is the bit that was really helpful when getting ready for annual reviews. So you've got, 20, 50 client reviews coming up in the next month ahead. You can run a report per client. Now, this might just be test data, but I know with my clients, a lot of their clients will have multiple different policies per life with multiple different insurance providers, and they've always struggled to be able to pull together a single report that's got all of that information for the client. Using this, it pulls it together beautifully, and they just attach it into the back as an appendix, I guess, to the report that they pull out of their CRM. So this was really powerful too.
One of many great functionalities is the scheduled PDF. which we will allow to attach to automatic renewal email.
Yeah.
So here it's like, and that's customizable. So you can choose colors, you can change logo, and that kind of provides you with some summaries and PDF document, which you can actually send to client if she asks you a question about their policies.
Excellent.
So,
and I'd be putting that in your review report because it's just a summary of a moment in time.
Yeah. We also do, so the breakdown is within the system is client, policies, and each policy can have multiple covers. So to see all the covers, you just click benefits report. That's where you see all the covers.
Right.
Then you can go to policies report and see useful information such as like total premium per policy, how is it paid, and days until anniversary of this particular policy.
And also the commencement date.
And
yeah. And did I see a moment ago that there was also, does it show if they've got exclusions or loadings?
yeah, it does, but that's like covers, more related to cover. This person doesn't have one. But
it wasn't really
yeah,
great.
if a person has a loading, you would see in this column
Right.
50%. Or if there is an exclusion, you'll see yes here. If there are no
Fantastic.
exclusions, you'll see no.
Yeah.
So it will give you some sort of indication whether you need to investigate further.
Yeah.
Let's returning to policies. You have days until anniversary column, and that's used to create automated renewal emails. So you can automate your personalized email to your client from your email address, saying it's time to catch up. Or you can just open and call this Mr. Hayden.
Can you show us how that's done, Robert?
Yep.
And could you set, does the advisor set, you know, I want to send it 30 days beforehand, 45 days, 60 days, that's up to the advisor?
Right. So all he needs to do is clicking name and email, and that's, he can automate happy birthday emails, insurance renewal emails, and overdue premium. So
I'll just make a comment on Sue on the overdue premium. What happened was a certain insurance company, beginning with the letter M, stopped sending out notifications to advisors that their clients had missed a premium. And then what would happen is the advisor would then receive a notification saying your client's policy has lapsed,
Right.
which wasn't very good for business because the client expects the advisor to know what's going on. We then contacted that particular insurer and worked out how we can get reports on when a premium has been missed. We then incorporated that into CDM. So now the advisor gets reports of clients that have missed premiums, and clients will receive an email if they've missed a premium as well. So again, that's something that not even advisors with big human resources can manage.
Yeah.
And then we've integrated that with other providers as well now.
And does it differentiate? Because forgive me, it's been a while since I've written insurance, but are there not levels of, you know, there's a first missed premium and then there's a certain period until it actually is up for lapse?
So our system, Robert, correct me if I'm wrong, at the moment is sending out the client should know that they've missed a premium.
Yeah.
and in 14 days, if it's not paid, it sends additional reminder.
Right. But again,
However,
only if the advisor toggles that feature on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's great.
Plus, but you have a ability to also send overdue emails every week, and only to non-super owned policies, because most of the time advisors have access to the super fund and they can figure out why it's not paid. So you can also send.
And so oftentimes it might just be that the credit card has, maxed out that month, or the expiry dates, changed and it's a new card. Is there a way to be able to pull up those that are actually at risk of lapsing? So, or automate a report to the advisor to say, these clients of yours, if they don't pay, they'll be lapsed by whatever dates or coming up in the next month?
So for this purpose, we specifically created provisional lapse section. So first of all, that's this overdue section. You can see the lapse date.
Yeah.
But if you want to see like who's the closest to the date of lapse, you can click provisional lapse. Oh, in this case, sorry, it doesn't show. But usually you would see a person who is 3 days before his policy lapses.
Right.
So
and that's when you pick up the phone in a real hurry if you don't know where
exactly.
what's going on.
Yeah, right. If we come back to email, insurance renewal has some automation. It's you can basically choose days before you send a renewal email. Renewal email is customizable. You can add your own logo, you can add your own text, you can play with it, deleting stuff, and etc. Plus, in next week, you will be able to click and attach policy schedule I've shown previous. So summarizing the customized policy schedule attached to renewal notice.
Fantastic. Now, from a security perspective, the emails aren't coming from CDM Solutions. They go out to clients and they look like they've come from the advisor's actual email address. Is that right?
Right.
That's right.
Well, they actually do come. So how do I then store those emails in my CRM and say, yep, I know that I've emailed these clients, and so forth?
So all emails sent from CDM are sent from the advisor's email. So if the advisor goes into their sent items, they will see copies of the emails that were sent to clients.
Right.
Right.
Now,
at the time email is supposed to be sent, there is one-off connection to advisor's email, and it sends email directly from your email. So CDM does not store any of your email or your data from your email, and you will see everything that's sent in your sent folder, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, and talk to me about the security around that. Obviously, privacy concerns and hacking into advisors' emails are a very, very big concern. How is that managed?
So we have double protection. First of all, the database is encrypted by itself. So, and some data is decrypted when a main application requests it from the database. However, if we're talking about this particular criteria, which is SMTP password, which actually gives you access to your email, it's never decrypted. So nobody in our company can actually see what you've put in, or even you will not be able to see what you've put in. So
right. And if a hacker wanted to get into CDM and change the text and try to get people to send money off to them, what protections have you got in place to make sure that they can't?
He will simply not be able to make it because he will not understand. The password will be incorrect because he will not see correct password.
Right. And you have two-factor authentication when actually logging into CDM?
Yes. However, it's voluntarily.
So what we did, Sue, is I was concerned about that as well. So we put in two-factor authentication, meaning that anytime an advisor logs into the system, they have to put in a code that they will have to then receive and put into CDM in order to be able to access it.
Yeah.
So most advisors keep that on. Some advisors requested that we turn it off. So an advisor has the ability to put on that additional level of security.
So here's the thing, right? I would absolutely be saying to everybody, keep that two-factor authentication switched on. It is too much of a risk. But specifically, what I generally tend to find is those who don't want 2FA is often because they're used to technology systems where they have to pay a significant licensing fee per user in their firm, and so they only have one login for the firm and everybody uses it, which is why they can't get that second factor authentication. In terms of how you've priced CDM, that shouldn't necessarily be an issue, right?
No, so our pricing is very, very not even competitive because we don't have any competition. It's very cheap at the moment. will it be cheap in the future? I don't know, but it's very cheap at the moment, and it's not per seat, it's per company, which means that at the moment it's scaled on number of clients. It may change, but that's how we're currently pricing. So yes, it doesn't carry that additional risk that you just mentioned about.
Right. So I can pay for my company. So let's say I've got between 500 and 2,000 clients, and I can pay $2,640 for the whole year to access all of those clients. And even if I've got 20 staff, they can each have their own log on into that system for that same price. Is that right?
That's currently the situation.
Excellent. And we should make the point also that as an Evolve Alliance member, you have very kindly provided a discount
That's right.
for our members.
10%. Yep.
10% discount. So yeah, just looking at the figures on screen there, I mean, I just the amount of time that this has saved the back office of numerous clients of mine, it's just a no-brainer. Is there anything else in that demo that we've missed, Robert?
A couple of things. So firstly, you have a summary of all your clients. So you can search them here. And in the 1st December this year, we're launching a quoting tool.
This is exciting. So depending on when people are listening to this, it's probably already been switched on, but we're having to talk in advance about it right now.
Right. It's not finished yet, of course. This is test data, but basically you will be able to click on a client and it will pre-fill for you most of the information, including life, TPD, and trauma, if there are any. And you will be able to see what's the most adequate. For example, TAL, integrity, and many more. It's a test account at the moment.
So that's a test account, but is that live? Is that how quick those quotes come up?
Yep.
Wow.
That's
and so
like
this is
really
through
quick.
Omnium, right?
Yep. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So you could look at an individual client and say, they're coming in for review. I know their premiums are coming up. Let's just have a quick look at what else is available. And it's that fast.
Right. Yeah. With most of the data pre-filled, you will already see the quotes and kind of understand.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And I have to say, with one of my clients, we won't name the software that they're using, but they're currently paying for a number of licenses for the risk quoting software that is included in their financial planning software. And they're going to be able to turn those off. I think it's going to save them about $440 every month. And what is your additional fee to access that component?
$150, including GST. So $150 a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Sue, I really think that the whole system is a no-brainer for any advisor, especially if they're risk focused, but any advisor, even if they're investment focused, if they have clients with risk policies, to run a business without such a solution would be, it would just be inefficient and expensive.
Uh,
As it is for so many of them right now.
Right. Last thing, yeah, I have probably one last thing to cover is.
Thanks, Robert.
Firstly, you can customize your PDF style. Like you can choose color, and we have pictures here explaining how you can customize and which variable is responsible for what.
Great.
You can change your company logo, which you will upload here. And in case you want an integration with some other software, you can choose to receive all your information via email every Sunday, but just simply clicking here or here.
So that's important, because what that is, Sue, is that we have, because we're providing data, we have advisors who are using CRMs that we don't even know of. And they asked us, can they get their CDM data so that they can import it into their own CRM? So we have several advisors where we send them a weekly email. They take that data and import it into their CRM. We don't even know what CRMs they're using. We also we are working at the moment with integrations with other CRMs. So it's a case of, watch this space, let us know who your CRM provider is. and we'll be able to give you data in a format that you can then import into your CRM if that's what you choose to do.
And so usually the challenge with that is mapping the labels of the fields to make sure that the data goes into the right place in the CRM. Do they need to remap that data every time they run the report every week or just once?
No, it'll be a once off.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So the main question that I get when I talk to I have spoken to a few people about this already. The first question I get is the data actually accurate?
Well, it's as accurate as the insurer provider gives it to us. So if the insurance company's got it wrong, we're going to report it wrong, but we report what the insurance provider gives us. We've had situations where advisors have come back and challenged us and said, you know, you say your information is right, but I've got an issue here where the information is wrong because it was a policy in that case which was no longer active. And we actually showed them that they were wrong and they didn't even know that they were wrong. So our information is accurate, Sue, and we have I would like to say a zero tolerance to inaccuracy.
Yeah.
But only as good as what the insurance provider provides us.
And that's a great flag, right? If the advisor's seeing data that is not the way that they think it should be, then it gives them the opportunity to go back to the insurer and fix it up.
That's right. That's right. It's probably not on our side.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the overarching, so we've covered off on accuracy, we've covered off on security. You've got a lot of personal data in here for clients. It's particularly topical at the moment with leaked data. We've covered off around that two-factor authentication, but in terms of where the information is stored, I know a lot of licensees do not want information stored on offshore servers.
So, Sue, we had that situation probably 4 or 5 years ago, where we had a big client coming on board, and that was a concern of them. So all our data is stored on Amazon Web Services servers, sorry. Initially, those servers were in America. Based on the feedback that we got from advisors, those servers are now sitting in Sydney, and none of our data goes offshore.
Outstanding. That's great. Excellent. Look, I think I've covered off all of the questions that I had for you, or the queries that I get from our advisors. Is there anything else that you do tend to hear from advisors that might be on somebody's mind that we haven't covered?
I think advisors might be wondering whether, for example, can CDM produce a particular report? And the answer is that based on the technology we now have implemented, we're able to customize a lot of information and reporting. So therefore, if there is something that we're not currently doing, just ask for it. And in most cases, we're able to deliver.
Yeah, usually 2 weeks. So if advisor asks us to do something, in 2 weeks, he will get it.
Fantastic. That's really great. Excellent to be working with a nimble business. Now, Katriel, you obviously get this. You're not originally a technology provider, are you?
No, my background is financial planning, accounting, and tax, and a lot of solutions oriented. So even when I was in accounting, a lot of my time was spent setting up accounting systems so that data flows efficiently and business owners are able to make meaningful decisions. I've moved from financial planning and accounting into software and into efficiencies. So this is what I'm doing most of the time, because it's frustrating when things are being done in a backward way. And this is a solution that every advisor in Australia needs. And if I can do it efficiently and well, everybody's going to be happy.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, on behalf of so many advisors, I would like to thank you for putting the time in to make this happen, because it really has been a significant time saver and an uplift in the quality of service that a number of my clients are able to provide their clients. And that's what we're all about. So thank you so much for joining us. Now, in order for people to reach out and engage with you, if they do have any more questions, I know you've got some really good frequently asked questions on the website, but otherwise it's as easy as following the links that are in this post. Do you want to talk about that free demo login?
At the moment, I think, Robert, it's a certain amount of time free to trial it and see what it has to offer. We have moved away from a demo account because advisors gave us feedback that the information in a demo account was meaningless, whereas when they have their own data, they can actually relate to the client's information that's there and assess its accuracy and its importance. So you get a free month, and then after the month, if you're still using it, then you start getting invoiced. Yes.
And if you choose not to use it, then you just
All the
switch it off and
information
all the
is
data,
deleted.
it gets deleted. Great. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time, both of you. I think it's a fabulous solution.
And thank you to you for recognizing the importance of efficient software in advisors' businesses and doing your job so well to make advisors more efficient.
Oh, thank you, Katriel. It's something that is very close to all of our hearts here at Elixir. We see the impact that it has on advisor businesses and then their profits and then their resulting fees they have to charge their clients. So it's a win-win all round when you can get this right.
Excellent.
Great. Thanks for coming on board.
Thank you.
Cheers.